Alright guys, today we are starting our chapter on systems of equations and inequalities. So we're going to start with section 6.1, which says solving systems by graphing. Solving systems by graphing. So the first thing we want to know is, well, what is a system of equation, right? What is a system of equation? What does that even mean? Okay, so the answer is that in a system of equations, the solution must make more than one equation true at the same time. Ooh. Okay, so for example, if we have the system x minus y equals negative 5 and y minus 3x equals 7, if we say, okay, well, a number minus y that's equal to negative 5, that would be something like x equals 5 and y equals 10, right? Because 5 minus 10 equals negative, 5 minus 10 is equal to negative 5, so that would work, right? For this one, but remember, it's a system, so now we have to see, well, does it work for this one? Okay, well, let's see. 10 minus 3 times 5 is supposed to equal to 7. Well, 10 minus 15 is definitely not equal to 7, okay, which means this is not a solution for the system, for this system, okay? So the question is, well, if that's not the system, if that's not the solution, how do we find the solution for the system? Well, the way that I'm going to teach y'all today, okay, one method for solving the system is by graphing, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Solving by graphing. Here are the steps. Step 1, you're going to place each equation in the system in slope-intercept form. Okay, so a reminder for its slope-intercept, that's the y equals mx plus b, right? Step 2, we graph and label each line. Okay, step 3, find the point of intersection. And step 4, last and not least, check your answer. Make sure that the ordered pair that you pick not only works for one equation, but for both equations, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and do an example. Okay, so our first example, we want to look at x plus y equals 4 and x minus y is equal to 2. All right, so step 1, put each of those, okay, put each of those into slope-intercept form. Okay, so x plus y equals 4 needs to go into the slope-intercept form, and x minus y equals 2 needs to go into slope-intercept form. So to put this one into slope-intercept form, we are going to subtract x from both sides. And we end up y is equal to negative x plus 4. To solve for y here, okay, let's see, we're going to subtract x from both sides, and we get negative y is equal to negative x plus 2. Now I have to multiply everything by negative 1, So we get positive y equals positive x minus 2. So now both of these are in slope-intercept form, which is great. Next step, graph them, okay? If you have your calculator, and this is why we all need to get our graphing calculator, because this is where your graphing calculators become your best friend. Because we have them in slope-intercept form, which means that we can go straight to y equals. We can put in our first equation, negative x plus 4. We can put in our second equation, x minus 2. We can hit our graph. It's going to graph those lines for us. And so we just need to figure out where they're intersecting, because that point is our solution. That point is our solution. So that's what we want to do. Okay, and if you notice, let me do that in slow motion. If you, let's say you're like, well, I'm looking at it and I can't quite tell if it's 3 or 3.2 or what the exact number is. You can actually figure out what that intersection is by using your function of your calculator. So this is where you have to have a TI-83 or a TI-84, which is required of you. So if you have that, like you're supposed to, I will now walk you how to find the intersection so you're not having to guess the wrong answer. Okay, so you will go to hit the second button, then you will hit trace, which is calculate, so second calculate. You will go to number 5, that's the intersection. You're going to hit enter, and if you notice when you hit enter it says first curve. Well, we don't need to know the first curve, so hit enter again. Second curve, we still don't need to know second curve, so next button, hit enter again. It says guess. No, we don't want to guess, we want to know the intersection. So hit enter one more time, and it tells us the intersection is x equals 3, y equals 1. That is your ordered pair. X equals 3 and y equals 1. That is your solution to that system of equations. And you can check it, right? It should be 3 plus 1 equals 4. Check. Should be 1 minus 4. I'm sorry, 3 minus 1 equals 2. And that also check. 3 minus 1 does equal 2. So it does check. So that, my friends, is how you solve systems by graphing. That's how you solve systems by graphing. So again, I'm going to write down those steps on your graphing calculator. So you hit second trace, okay, which is your calculate button. Okay, then you're going to hit number 5, which says intersection. Okay, and then you're going to hit enter 3 times, and that will come up with your answer. All right, one more example just to finalize this and make sure that we know how to do it really well. Next example, we have the system 2x plus y equals 0, 3x plus 2y equals 2. So step 1, put those into slope-intercept form. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to start with subtracting 2x from both sides. So I get y is equal to negative 2x. Oh, that's it, right? Because it was set equal to 0. So that's my first equation. The second equation in the system, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I get 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 2. Okay, but now I have to multiply everything by 1/2. So that way that 2 will cancel out, leaving me just y equals 1/2 times negative 3x is just negative 3/2 x. 1/2 times 2 is just 1. So we get that for our next our next equation. All right. So from there, we can put that into our calculators. Go to y equals. So our first equation is negative 2x. So negative 2x. Our next one is going to be negative 3/2 x. This is where I like to use the parentheses. So negative 3/2 x and then plus 1. Plus 1. Okay, so I hit graph. Alright, so I got that. I can kind of try to tell where my intersection is, but if I want to know exactly, I hit second, calculate, number 5, and I hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And the intersection is -2, 4. -2, 4. Okay, so make sure it works, right? -2 times 2 is -4. -4 plus 4 is 0. Checks for the first one. Now check the next equation. 3 times -2 is -6. 2 times 4 is 8. So -6 plus 8 is equal to 2. It checks. So this is our solution to that system. Okay, so just a couple of other things that I want to talk to you real fast about. If, so get a new sheet of paper. Okay. Oh, too light. If the slope is the same, you have parallel lines. If you have parallel lines, that means they don't intersect. So if the lines aren't intersecting, you don't have a solution. So therefore, no solution. Okay, it's also called an inconsistent system. It's inconsistent. It doesn't even intersect. So there's no solution to that one. All right. So let's say you solve for y. You put it in slope intercept form. Okay, so after putting into slope intercept form, you have the same equation, right? You started with 2 different, but when you solve for y, you got 2 of the same equations from your system. When that happens, you have infinite many solutions. You can do any x and y because it doesn't matter because they're the same equations. Okay? And it also means they represent the same line. All right. That is all I have for you today. Make sure that you are doing 6.1, number 2 through 6 evens. You can absolutely use your calculator. All I'm looking for is the point of intersection. Okay, thank you so much for watching.